the faithful pray to you while you may be found. Surely the rising of the mighty waters will not reach them. You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. This is God speaking in the scripture, not me. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by a bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. Many are the woes of the wicked. The Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in Him. Notice it doesn't say the Lord's unfailing love surrounds everybody. That's universalism, and that's a lie from the pit of hell. Anybody says, oh, God is love, He loves everybody. No, He doesn't. No. There's a general love in which God loves all of His creation, generally. But Scripture also says that God hates the wicked. The wicked is almost a curse word in Scripture, and it means somebody that's utterly worthless to God. So, it says that God's wrath hangs over the wicked all the day long. He's angry with the wicked all the day long. So there's tension in the Bible between certain verses. It says, be holy for I'm holy. Like I'm the one who makes you holy. So they're both true. Why? Because Scripture says so. Scripture is the pillar and foundation of truth. For those who have faith, there's no explanation necessary. For those who don't have faith, there's no explanation possible. Sorry. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. God is very interested in us. The fact that the ineffable majesty on high would be mindful of us, that just blows my mind. Blows my mind. He says, do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by a bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. This is God saying, He wants us to come to Him with that broken spirit, that contrite heart. Many are the woes of the wicked, but the Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in Him. Rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all you who are upright in heart. What does that mean? That means that when I'm walking in accordance with the Spirit, if I hear a rap song or something, and the Satan tries to stick this into my mind, right? Because I used to like that garbage. Well, or any rock song or something. When I hear this just satanic, demonic vomit coming out of their mouths, that I used to like, I might remember the song or something. My mind automatically switches the words to a worship song. Automatically. Yeah. I'll automatically, and so now I'll have this song. Whenever a thought comes into my mind, I check it with Philippians 4:8. Is this true, noble, just, praiseworthy, honorable, does it have any virtue? No? I go like the iPhone, and I start worshiping God. Keep a song in my heart, constantly to the Lord. Constantly. And why? Because song is very important. Song is very powerful. You know, and guess what? You can only think one. Yes. Yeah. Scripture says that whenever Saul, the unclean spirit, would bother Saul, Saul the king would have David come and play the lyre. It's a musical instrument, and he would play music, and the unclean spirit would leave and depart from Saul because David was worshiping God. One time when I was in Mexico, this church was going to give me some money, a big bag of coins, and this was before the witch doctor told me that I had unclean spirits and all this, and I didn't believe her, and I didn't, because I'm American, we don't think like that. But I go into this church, because I have to go in this church. He goes, come into the office, and we're going to give you this bag of coins. It's a very poor church, but they're in there worshiping God. And as soon as I stepped into the building, I was like, I had to get out of this building. I had to. And I ran to the next exit and didn't even go to the office for the money, and I needed it. They were going to give me a month's wages. 750 pesos, which is about a month's wages in Mexico. And I beelined it for the next exit out that church. As soon as I stepped in, I was like, holy moly! And I ran to the next exit and jumped out. I was like, oh. Right? And I didn't notice. I knew, I still remember that. But it didn't really click in my mind what the significance of that of my reaction of going into that. Now let me remind you of something too. When I grew up in church in a Christian private school here in America, I joined in the worship songs and didn't have a problem at all. I didn't have one issue about being in the worship songs or nothing. That tells you something. That tells you something. I grew up in a Christian private school. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about that church or anything, but that's something to take note of. The fact that I could join in the worship songs and have no issue. But when I went down there into a third world country where these people are poor, living in bamboo huts packed together with mud and have to shake the scorpions out of their clothing, and they're eating elotes 3 times a day, ears of corn with no butter or salt. They just throw it in the fire, and they're eating corn 3 times a day, and they're happy as a bug in a rug because they got ears of corn. You wouldn't hear them. They're wearing around no shoes, no shirts, snotty noses, no combed hair, all ratted up, and they're just happy as a bug in a rug. Why? Because they got elotes. They're eating corn. And they're happy as can be because there's people down there that ain't got that. You know, in Honduras, the kids that huff thinner paint and glue, the trash trucks come along and they'll kick them and be like, "Levántate, levántate," and they don't get up. They'll pick them up and throw them in the trash truck because they're dead. No funeral, nothing. And that's just the way it is down there. There's thousands and thousands of unwanted kids down there because the way it works is like this: if I have 10 kids and 7 of them, well, then you can go outside. So you have excuse me, if you want to be disruptive, I'd like to ask you to go outside. So at any rate, if you have any questions, please ask me after class. Thank you. Thank you. So, I'll be glad to answer it. But I'm not going to argue, and I'm not going to have somebody disruptive in here when there's other people that want to learn. Hey, Steve?
Close your mouth. Do you know that? Do you know that?
So, hey, can you ask her, hey, brother, can you have her go outside, please? Because she's very disruptive. Thank you. Thank you. So, down there in Honduras, when
He already asked that you have to go. I don't need an explanation, but please leave.
so
He's back in that lunch, but he's asking you to leave the service.
All I did was ask him a question about the children on where they said they were throwing garbage cans. All you do is say, yeah, I can hear it right.
Okay, well, he's already asked you to leave. Please leave.
How Christian you are.
So, at any rate, down there, now I see, I forgot what I was talking about here. So, down in Honduras, when the kids, they have, let's say they have 10 children, what they'll do is they'll have 7 of them that does their chores and their homework and stuff like this, and they're obedient to their parents. And so they'll take the 3, they call the other 3 that don't, they call them morros, right? Bad kids. And so they'll kick the morros out because they're not going to pay to feed the child if it's not going to do what they say, and they're not going to pay for its education. They're just going to say, go, you got to go. You don't want to abide by our rules in the house, then you got to go. And thank you, sir. Thank you. And so this is the case in most countries, because they don't slaughter their babies like we do in America. They don't do abortion. They don't kill their babies like we do here. And so you have these groups of children that are bad kids, and they huff thinner, paint, and glue, and they don't live to be but maybe like 19, 20 years old, and then they die. And I forgot where I was going with this, but when we grow up in America, if all we know is about how this country isn't like the rest of the world. Matter of fact, most of the rest of the world is nothing like this country. There's people that, so when I went into the church, right, these people were worshiping God. They were poor, broken. I mean, they had no money, but they were happy. They were happy as can be. And they were worshiping the Lord. And so, song is very important. Whenever a thought comes into our mind, we want to check it with Philippians 4:8. And why is that? Because All of our actions, our attitudes, our thoughts, our motives, our desires, our purposes, intents, these are all a direct result of our thought life. So, it's important for us to watch what we allow to go on through our minds. God is very concerned with what we allow to go on through our minds. And so, when we have a desire, this new affection for Christ, and we've been born again, and we desire to please the Lord, it's very important for us to bring every thought into